Elden Ring just got a massive patch with how the game is going to work in terms of balancing with its latest patch 1.07. The biggest thing about this patch is the additional feature that has been brought in where the damage scaling for PvP and PvE has been split. So you can now have weapons that are strong in PvE, but they will be nerfed for PvP. So in PvP, you can use whatever weapons you want. They're not going to be like, okay, one button, one Ash of War, this is what's going to decide the fight. You're going to now have to play PvP on a more balanced scale without those balancing changes affecting the PvE players who want to destroy these massive bosses with some incredibly overpowered weapons, which are fun to use in PvE, you know? So they finally managed to make a distinction between PvE and PvP, which is fantastic. So whichever player you are, you're going to have a much better experience. Bosses are going to be easier to kill, and PvP is going to be a whole lot more balanced. In terms of PvP, they've actually increased the stamina attack power in PvP against all guarded foes, like, you know, foes with shields and stuff who are blocking. You can actually damage their stamina bar a whole lot more. Your normal weapon attacks will also do a lot more poise damage in PvP, so you can actually break the poise of enemies a lot faster than you would normally. This doesn't work for skills or like long range weapons. This is basically, you know, the hack and slash right in front of you is going to do more poise damage. And in general, most Ashes of War in PvP have been nerfed across the board. Most of them that were incredibly strong or could one-shot enemies have now been made a little bit more weaker so that they don't get relied on too often, so that PvP has a larger focus on actually hitting people with your attacks, dodging more, instead of just figuring out who presses the button first. And across the whole game, most of the Dragon Breath attacks have also been weakened, so that's something quite notable. But there are way more buffs than there are nerfs in this patch, so both for PvP and PvE, Colossal Weapons, Hammers, and Great Hammers have been buffed a little bit to make them more usable, do more damage, and just be a whole lot more user-friendly. Everything else was mostly buffed for PvE, like, you know, cheaper FP costs, more chance to stagger enemies, and sometimes even more attack power in general, so that they feel a lot more impactful when you land those shots, like especially for charging some attacks and landing them on an enemy, you can do devastating damage. If you want to read all the specifics, you can go onto Steam, go into Elden Ring in Steam, and you should be able to find their patch notes for the patch 1.07. It's a ton of text, a ton of information to absorb. Pretty much everything, I swear everything has a change to it. So go read that for the specifics that you use in your build that you're playing right now. The patch also comes with many bug fixes and performance improvements that have been made, and the game seems ready to move on to a DLC at this point. I'm starting to see that everything has been balanced for PvE, PvP in their own rights, and we could start seeing some major game updates with regards to new playable content probably sometime soon. I suspect in the next few months we might receive a trailer or something about what's the next thing happening for Elden Ring. In fact, there's already talks of like a kind of data mine where there might be another map region online or something involved with a new map area that is not something we have access to already, and also that ray tracing might be added to the games quite soon, but none of this is official yet. So we're all holding fingers and we're just waiting for some news about where Elden Ring is going to go in the future. I, for one, am super excited to see what they do with the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.